My name is Jasmine Houston, and we have a really, really good topic for you guys today. I've been avoiding stuff like this for a while because it usually gets people worked up, but I guess we're going to try it today. So if you'd like to join our conversation, and I'm sure you guys will, you could call us at 901-260-5926. Last week we talked about the movie Get Out, and we had a lot of good points and stuff from the movie. But today we're going to do like a whole different direction, and we're going to talk about religion. And what I wanted to know today is just, is heaven and hell a real thing? Like, do we actually go somewhere once we leave here? Like, what's after we die? Do we experience heaven in a gated community where we learn about how to live peacefully and have eternal happiness? Or are we going to go to like hell where we're supposed to burn forever and like ever, like forever, ever, forever, ever? Like, that's just scary even just thinking about it. But if you guys would like to chime in, you could call us again at 901-260-5926. So does anybody want to jump in? And I guess we could start off by just talking about like, where do you guys think we go after we leave here?
Energy doesn't die, it just transfers.
Okay.
You're 72% water, 16% earth, 6% air, 4% fire, and the rest of you is space. So once the four elements break down and go back to the earth, where are you at that point? Because you are not your body, you are what's animating your body.
Okay.
The fifth element.
And what is that fifth element called?
That non-ether.
Non-ether. It sounds like some oil for your car. No, I'm just playing. But you got to give us some more details.
I mean,
you got to tell us
your
what you're
energy,
talking about.
your vibrate, everything works off energy and frequency in this universe. And
What he's saying is that your energy doesn't necessarily ever go away. Instead, it kind of transforms and is manipulated into another life form. For example, within the Hindu community, within Hindu religion or whatnot, the Indians over there in the Eastern Empire, they actually practice not to kill any insects or animals because they believe in the process of reincarnation, whereas you come back in whatever life form that you are actually deserving of based on how you lived your life previously. So if you come back as a fly, you're probably a very bad person or something like that in their terms. Or if you come back as a very successful human being again, or a very prominent animal, then you was pretty well off and you did good for people and stuff like that. So in my opinion, I don't necessarily think that you necessarily go to like a heaven or hell, as in the great pearly gates or this lake of fire or whatnot. I think that is really based on how you live your current life. And once you go to the next life or whatever, you kind of pick from a pool of straws, and if you get lucky, you get something good.
Okay, well, I think that I agree with a lot of this. Oh, go ahead, Rakisha. Oh, really? Don't be scared. Oh, yeah, before we get started, I do want to let y'all say our names. I'm so sorry. I jumped right into it. So we could start over here with Rakisha.
My name is Rakisha Gray. I'm a senior religion and philosophy major at Christian Brothers University. I'm from Memphis, Tennessee, and I'm very excited to discuss this today.
All right, we have...
Hey, I'm John.
Andre the Great.
Hey, I'm TJ. I'm interested in this discussion, you know what I'm saying? Not push my own beliefs, you know what I'm saying? Because what I believe ain't a belief, you know what I'm saying? And I'm a firm believer in bringing your proof out behind your statements, because if we gonna level a charge, if you're gonna level a claim, you got to bring your proof of claim. This court, you see what I'm saying? If you make a statement without no proof, their testimony won't hold up in court. You know what I'm saying? So that's where I want to go at with the discussion today.
And I totally agree with you. So that's why I'm not going to say much about it. I'm just going to be here to kind of mediate things, because I know this is a heated subject. And so I would like for the people who do have proof, as TJ was talking about, to call us in and give y'all perspective about if heaven or hell is real, because either y'all could save some of us, y'all could give us a new perspective that makes us not believe in it. Like, I'm not here trying to push nothing on anybody. So it's just an open forum for us to discuss this issue. And again, if you guys would like to call, you could call us at 901-260-5926. So during this segment, I really wanted to just talk about the whole aspect of heaven. And so when we're younger, what is it that they teach us that heaven is? Like, what is it supposedly supposed to look like?
Well, heaven's supposed to be this place where all the good people go and all the angels are, and they're supposed to greet you, and everything's supposed to be very loving and caring and whatnot. And God is supposed to be there behind, figuratively speaking, some pearly gates, as some people may say. And they're supposed to be basically paradise, in the sense of whatever religion you want to come from is essentially paradise. That's what we're given.
Okay, Rakisha, sorry for calling you a nickname. Go ahead.
You're good. From the perspective, I guess, of more so Christian background, heaven is seen in Scripture as a place, and hell is seen as a place below. Heaven is seen as a place above. And my definition of that, subscribing to a belief in God, no matter what that understanding of God is, I would just define heaven as like the place where God resides, and then hell as the other, the state where he is not.
Okay. Anybody want to respond to Rakisha?
Yeah. Well, my thing is, with me being who I am, believing what I believe, for the record, for and on the record, I do believe I am a Hebrew Israelite. You know what I'm saying? According to the scripture, though, there's nothing that I came up with. And, you know what I'm saying? I follow the Bible. You know what I'm saying? And I stand on it, and I earnestly contend for it. And what the Bible speaks of what heaven is, which a lot of people don't know, is three of them. You see what I'm saying? 2 Corinthians 12, Paul said, third heaven. Deuteronomy chapter 32, talk about the first heaven, the earth. The second heaven in Psalms 148 talk about the moon and all the stars. So when somebody say, well, you going to heaven, which one?
I didn't know that it was three of them.
Yeah, that's the thing.
You do know the Bible was transliterated, right?
The Bible was transliterated, but
Right.
does that mean that it was tampered with?
That means, are they really saying what the original language that it came from saying?
Yeah, I speak the Hebrew. It says the exact same thing. I got the Tanakh. It says the exact same thing.
I'm not saying it doesn't say there's three heavens. I'm saying, what are they referencing when they're saying it's three heavens?
What do you mean what they reference?
English is a bastardized language. It's a modern language. It's not ancient at all.
Right.
It's connotative meaning and what is it?
Connotative, denotative.
Right.
Yeah, denotative
right.
meanings.
And that's why I brought up the point. I took it back to the original writings, which was the Hebrew language.
You didn't take it back.
How didn't I?
You said it in
What are the
English.
three heavens?
Yeah. And I said it's three heavens. And
No, what are
then
they specifically?
where are they specifically?
Yes.
Oh, in the atmosphere. You got the third heaven where the Father and the Son dwelleth, the light where no man can approach.
Now you
I
said
answered that. I said the third heaven. That's where the Son and the Father
Where's
dwell.
your
Then you
proof?
got the
'Cause you said
second
you
heaven
have to stand on
in the
something.
Bible.
that's the
But this is a biblical concept, right? So you asking the question is a biblical concept, but you don't want me to go
Islam
in
think
the
of heaven
Bible
and hell,
to answer it.
Islam, they talk about heaven
Right.
and hell as well.
And hell is different aspects. It's a condition.
Right.
But it's different conditions of hell.
Right.
You got
Okay.
hell that you go through every day. You got hell, can't pay your bills,
So
and you
so
got hell, the lake of fire.
You believe
hell.
you believe that once you decease from animating your earth plane,
Right.
that you're going to some burning place.
Oh no, I don't believe that because
Okay,
the Bible don't teach that.
Okay, I was just
Nah, I believe that there's a judgment. Then you go there, but immediately after you die, you go right back in the ground.
so you go there, but your body just decomposes and goes back to it, the elements decompose and go back to that what you.
I
came.
mean, that's self-evident.
But-
After 72 hours, rigor mortis set in, bro.
That's
Your
not what
body
I'm saying.
started
That's not what I'm saying.
decomposing
I'm saying, where do you go if your body decomposes?
in the ground.
I know that,
The spirit, is that what you're talking about?
The
Where-
spirit returns back to who gave
but
it.
you said you're going to some burning place.
I said after the judgment. I did not say that.
So how could your spirit go somewhere after the judgment?
What is your spirit?
You tell me. You said
Your
Okay,
spirit
yeah.
is your spirit could be anything. According to the Bible, your spirit could be your breath, your thoughts.
the spirit is just breath alone.
Right. It's your thoughts too.
Okay,
The
y'all.
spirit
So
of your mind.
what
You ain't
is
never
like
heard
the
of that?
criteria for you to get into heaven? Because I know like I probably don't meet it fully. So how do y'all feel about the ways
According to
that
what?
according to
It
whatever
says
y'all
in the Bible, 144,000 will make it to heaven, right?
No, it don't say that.
What it say?
It said 144,000 will be sealed before the great day of the Lord's wrath. That's what it said. And it says in Genesis.
What does that mean?
What does that mean?
Yes.
144,000 who are Israelites from the 12 tribes of Israel will be sealed in their mind, bruh. To not take the mark or whatever is going on during those 3.5 years of the Great Tribulation. That's what that means.
Okay, y'all. So we do have a caller, and I want to see what Zuriel has to add to this challenging conversation. Zuriel, you're on the air.
Hey, how everybody doing?
We're fine. How about yourself?
I'm doing wonderful. But as I was listening, and that was very interesting. But I want to say the thing about the guy mentioned the third heaven, and from the Hebraic perspective, he was right about three heavens, but it was talking about the first atmosphere, which is where the clouds reside, and the second heaven, which is just where the sun and the moon is, and then they had the third heaven, which represents, where the creator of the universe is.
Right.
So
All right. That's what
So
I
you
said.
got the Father, Son, and the
That's
Holy
what-
Ghost, which is the pyramid. The mind, the body, and the soul goes together, right? You can't.
Yeah, but I mean, the way you say heaven, people think you're talking about another existence in those three realms, but it's actually this is explaining the physical universe and then the terrestrial.
And
not
I
celestial.
agree with that, bruh. And I believe where a lot of misconception comes in at is that the Bible has been taught wrong. You see what I'm saying?
Exactly.
For some reason, man, people think that it's whatever you feel like. No, bruh, it's a book of rules. Whenever rules
Exactly.
are in play, you don't get to do what you want to do.
But
You see
like
what I'm
who?
And
What does the Old Testament mean? What does testament mean?
Covenant.
What does testament mean? Give me the etymology
I
of
believe it's
the word
will.
testament.
I think it's
No,
Oh.
it goes
it's
back to the
really
Latin
supposed
word
to
testimenti, which means body and mind. So you got the old body, old mind, new body, new mind.
So you say that to say what?
I just gave you the definition of what testament means.
Oh, I'm saying, but you gave me
So
that definition to say
You're
what?
saying it's something to believe in, and you're right. It's rules and or guidelines on how to live in this vessel that they're calling the
Right.
body, right?
Right.
I think we're saying the
Yeah,
same thing.
but-
Heaven is a state, is your consciousness, right? A healthy state of consciousness.
Heaven is?
and hell is your lower self, right?
If you, in a sense,
One
yeah.
understanding.
In a
Right.
sense, yeah, I can roll with that. In a sense,
Right. It's your lower
Right.
self and your higher
Right,
self.
right.
All right,
Fighting with each other.
Zuriel. So, do you think that
agree with
heaven
that.
and hell are real? Because I know when you called in, you were talking about TJ's point that there were three heavens. But do you think it's real? Hello.
Yeah, because can you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, because if you all you gotta do is just look in the natural world. We have laws in any country that you go to. If you commit murder or if you anything that goes against their laws, they will imprison you.
That's
Hold
man-made.
you captive for a certain amount of time. So if all we got to do is just examine that, and the seen is reflective of the unseen, and so that automatically shows you that the biblical principles or the laws and stuff like that they talk about, or morality and things like that.
Right.
That if somebody continues to do these things, it's a consequence for it. And so, like I said, it's simple to understand.
Are you going to hell when you die, or are you going to heaven? That's the question. And is this a destination?
Well, first of all, we from a biblical perspective, it was death is actually a sleep state, and if you read in the New Testament, like the Apostle Paul and everything, they always consider death as a sleep state, but it is it's a such thing as a blissful sleep state and a not so well sleep state.
So I want to challenge your thinking real quick. So I've been across seas, I've been to Japan, and I've been into a shrine. And basically heaven to them is having your name etched in your shrine, and your name goes along with the rest of your family, and your name live on with the rest of your family. Now, for them, would you consider that their heaven? And also, I'm questioning you. I see we're not all Christian, but me and you are Christian. How can you as a Christian say that everybody in the world is going to go to hell if they're not Christian?
Who?
Or Or how can you say we're
before you answer the question, I want to let our next caller get it. So thank you for calling, Zuriel. I appreciate it.
Okay. All right.
All right. So I hope Andrew was listening to the question. Andrew, are you with us?
I'm here.
All right. Do you want to answer Paul's question?
I missed the question. What was the question again?
Go ahead, Paul.
So we as Christians believe that if you're not a Christian, you don't go to heaven, you go to hell. So how can you assume that somebody let me ask the question real quick. But like, how can you assume that somebody in another part of the world that's never been exposed to Christianity can automatically go to hell if they've never been exposed to it?
Well, you can assume that.
Yeah,
I can't assume that at all, because it's just like, if I saw my father all his life live a good life, and he never sinned, and if he did a sin, he repent for his sin. We going on the Christian way. But I converted to Islam. So I die and get to heaven. I see he's not there. Now heaven just became hell for me, right?
But even go ahead.
The other guy said from a biblical perspective, but the Bible ain't the only book that was written. It's not even ancient.
Right. But
it was transliterated from the Septuagint, which was
the Septuagint is the Old Testament.
Right.
That's what they transliterated from the Greeks did that.
Okay, but listen to what you saying. They transliterate something that was already there, bro.
But it was.
So where did they come from before it was transliterated?
What I'm trying to get you to say is the words are not the same.
I'm saying, but what was the original writings before they transliterated? Were you there?
No.
See, that's like the whole problem with this this question is because we don't really know if heaven or hell is real because we haven't seen it.
But everybody's saying from a biblical perspective, but from a biblical perspective, the Bible don't teach people go to heaven. The Bible teach you live, you die, and you awaiting judgment. Then that's when you get your sentence. The way that the question being put out there is like, as soon as you die, something happens. That ain't what the Bible teach. Now, I just listened to about 3-4 people say from a biblical perspective. Now, if we gonna talk Bible, let's talk Bible. John 3:13, no man has ascended up to heaven except he who came down.
What does that mean, though?
Yeah, I sure know.
What do you mean? What do it mean? The only one that came down from heaven is the only one that can ascend up. No man besides him can do that. I just told you what it means.
Hey, y'all can.
No, we could break that down for the people.
Then I just told you what it meant.
My opinion.
Go ahead, Andrew. Y'all let him speak uninterrupted, please.
I'm sorry. My opinion is heaven and hell is a state of conscience. Heaven is a state of higher conscience and the divine state of being that is abundant. It is a state of conscience within you, and it was never meant to be made as a place to go or a place above the sky. And hell is a state of being something that you do not want. It's the feeling of being negative. So when you ask certain people if heaven is real, of course they're gonna say heaven or hell is real because they've been conditioned to believing that it's real. And all their religion, Islam, Christianity, all of them, they believe it to be so. It's been manifested by collective conscience throughout our generation since forever. It's been passed down. So our society teaches this spirit. It's like laws of duality. It's like the law of duality. You have to have evil and you have to have a good. We go through this spiritual battle every day with our higher and lower conscience. Every day we're going through a spiritual battle. So what causes to have the hell, you have to have this fear. We've been taught to fear something so much. And that's the way you control the masses, by giving them something to fear in. So if you don't believe in hell and don't have fear, you never knew hell exists. So me thinking when you die, you don't go to another. Your spirit lives on. Energy never dies. You go just like the Bible says, dust to dust, earth to earth, or ash to ash, however it goes.
Yeah, okay.
That's my take on it.
Okay, Andrew. I just want to throw this out there. I'm just gonna say that as far as heaven and hell, like I try not to get into it because people, really are, it's an emotional topic. But
that is a very emotional topic.
And it's emotional for a reason because it's power in those emotions. It's power in knowing, like the whole idea of mysticism, or what we're supposed to feel in an afterlife or the here life. You know what I'm saying? It's like people created heaven and hell. People created the Bible. Like all of this stuff was inside. All of this stuff was inside human beings. Like at one point in time, human beings didn't have to talk to each other, believe it or not.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But we, you know, and like people say they're states of consciousness. I say that don't exist at all. You know, heaven and hell, because the frequency of heaven and hell is low in itself. You know, when you talk about places, and when you and people always say the Bible says, but the Bible don't say anything. You learn from that book. The Bible don't say anything. Your eyes and your mind, you see what I'm saying? So you getting into what you are. And people scared to get into what they are because of, you know, what they've been told. If you've been told who you are, what you are not, or, you know what I'm saying, and everything around, you ain't never wanted to tap into yourself.
All right, y'all. So we do have to take a break. I appreciate you for calling, Andrew. We do have another caller. I'll get to you right after the break. If you also like to join the conversation, you could call us at 901-260-5926. Stay tuned, y'all. We'll be right back.
Tom Shadyac is taking your calls now at 901-260-5926. That's 901-260-5926.
Might make my mother upset, but it's not on purpose, just honesty in my verses. My whole life I've been an anomaly on the surface. I believe in higher powers, just don't get mine from the church. Now I'm going to hell with all the sinners. I'd rather drown in fire than fly with all you pretenders. The devil clipped my wings a long time ago, but I picked them up, got a needle and thread, and I'm trying to sew. At least I'm trying to grow. Every family has its problems.
All right, y'all. Welcome back to Tell Me More Radio with Tom Shadyac. I'm Jasmine Houston, and tonight we pulling some strings, and I need y'all to send me all of the energy y'all can to help me get through this, because y'all are really excited about this. But we're going to keep it respectful, and we're getting ready to change directions a little bit. So during the first segment, we talked about, well, the show today is about, is heaven and hell real? And the first segment, we were trying to figure out the whole concept of heaven, and that went a lot of different ways. But this segment, I want to focus on hell. And the reason that I played this song, first of all, is because it's my friend's song, Maurice and Tico. They form a group called Hippie Soul. You can search them on any social media site, Hippie Soul 901. They just shot a video, so y'all be on the lookout for that. The name of that song is Nazareth. You can check them out on YouTube, SoundCloud, anything like that. But what I really liked about that song was just that he was saying that he guess he's going to hell because he doesn't want to go to heaven with all the like pretenders and people who just like front. And I definitely understand that, because sometimes church people have made me consider like if I really wanted to go to the heaven they are talking about or not. But like I said, this segment is going to be about hell specifically, because we already talked about heaven a little bit. And we are taking your calls at 901-260-5926. We do have a caller, The Money, who's been waiting. The Money, you're on the air.
Hey, how's it going?
Hey, The Money, what do you have to share with us?
Basically, personally, I believe that there is a heaven and hell. I grew up a Christian, but as I got older, you know, being raised in the church and just seeing, getting viewpoints from other Christians, I was kind of turned away a little bit. But now I kind of feel like as long as you do the right thing and you try to do right by people and treat people how you want to be treated, regardless of what the afterlife holds, whether it's reincarnation or whether it's heaven and hell or whether you just return to the earth, I feel like you're going to be okay. I feel like as long as you try to be a good person, that you're going to be okay in the afterlife. And I'm not completely sure what that afterlife is, and I can't say that anybody's wrong because we don't know. I mean, you can preach all day that Islam is the way to go or Christianity is the way to go, but at the end of the day, we don't know. So I can't criticize somebody else who believes differently because, I mean, I haven't died. I haven't seen.
Yeah, I completely agree with you, because my standpoint is death is something that none of us can really comprehend. So none of us that's alive really knows what is going to happen. So my standpoint from a philosophy standpoint is if you have two options to go to heaven or hell and you live your life and you do what's right, you know, as long as you do what's right from what you feel, because my God is not your God and your God is not my God. What God has done for me, He is not done for you. So as long as you live, you know, a rightful life according to what you think is right, I feel that you will go to whatever you perceive is their good place, whether that's heaven or you know, the warriors have their own version of heaven because, you know, warriors say they want to die in battle, different things like that. That's how I view it.
I just want to add to that and say that I think the important thing to consider there is choice and not just doing right or acting right, because we know that someone could do right but not necessarily have the heart or from a Christian perspective, the choosing of God. And so it's more than just actions. But I do think that for me, the heaven and hell, the afterlife, whether you call it an experience or whatever, I do think that both destinations are a choice. And I read in this, I was reading in this book, well, I'm still reading it now, The Great Divorce by C.S. Lewis, and he talks about how, just goes on about the idea of the doctrine of hell, and talks about how it was a fictional story, obviously. The people were in hell or in a state of hell and had a chance to ride a bus and go to heaven. And even when they saw or experienced what that was and realized that this was everything associated with God, they still chose not to do it and chose not to go to heaven. And he referred to like hell as a place locked from the inside, you know? So I say that to say that it's a chosen place. And a lot of times, you know, people like in the church specifically are turned off with the idea of the conversation of talking about heaven and hell because people bruise the conversation, and people try to put themselves in authority to send you to hell, and that angers people. But in the end, belief in what happens after you die or transition is not determined, you know, it's not in anyone's hand, and it's definitely a choice, a hard choice.
Well, I agree to that point, Rakisha. In fact, to further your point, the concept of hell actually comes from the Hellenics. During their period of conquest, they were actually at one point called the Greeks, which also means trickster, when they was changing all the languages around and whatnot, but that's a different point. But what the Hellenics or the Greeks were doing at the moment was the places that they were conquering at the time, they were actually in the heaven state of being, at a heaven state of mindset, because when you study the languages and whatnot, you'll notice that before those particular civilizations that were taken over by Hellenic tribes and whatnot, it would say Old High, let's say German, or Old High English, Old High or African language or whatever. It'll say Old and it'll say High. And then it'll say lower level German, lower level English. So when you had invaders come in, these Hellions or whatnot, they would basically take over and change the mental capacity of the people, causing them to create a hell for themselves on earth, because they weren't doing what they were doing at first, was created for them. Their version of what heaven was, as in different nations have different customs, and depending on what your custom is, your level of heaven is going to be different. Referencing back to, what's your name? Paul, referencing back to Paul's point, and also other religions' perspective as well. Everybody's heaven is going to be different.
Yeah, and I totally agree with you. And somehow we got disconnected from the money, and he called back. So I wanted to see what he has to say before we take Adrian's call. So the money, what did you have to share? Hello.
Hello.
Yeah.
Just one last thing about the Bible. I know it can be read in different senses, like the literal sense, the allegorical sense. So there was I wouldn't say argument, but disagreement about the Bible earlier. But I know different people have different interpretations. It doesn't necessarily mean somebody's wrong. That's just what you took from it. And I think it was meant to be read that way for like different interpretations, but not necessarily saying any interpretation was wrong.
Okay, thank you for that viewpoint. I totally agree with you that it is subject to interpretation, and we really don't know. So thank you for calling the money.
Can I read something right fast?
Give me 1 second. I want to let Adrian give her point because she's been waiting for a while. So Adrian, you're on air.
Hey, there was a comment made very early on that really struck me about heaven being where God is. And there's some school of thought that there is the divine dwells in each of us. And that got me thinking about if in that context, then isn't heaven anywhere where we are gathered in love?
I think so, but I don't want to give my viewpoints. I'm going to do that after the break. So do any of y'all want to answer that?
Well, I like to ask, what is this divine that dwells in us? Where does it come from? How do we obtain it?
The electromagnetic entity that you are. You're so connected to the earth, and you and your father is one and the same. That's the divine. Who you think you're talking to when you're not talking.
But when you say fathers, could you get into specifics?
Well, let me read this, and I'm gonna let y'all. I want to read.
Hold on, before you start, I know you want to do that, Andre, but I wanted to let Adrian finish her point before we let her go, and then we could go to that. I know you ready.
Yeah, and then the one other thought I wanted to just throw out there. We had talked a little bit about cultural relativism and different cultures believing different things about heaven. Joseph Campbell had a perspective that cultures made their mythologies and their stories, and at some point, some people lost the story perception of that and began to take some of these stories literally and moved forward based on that. So that kind of struck me in terms of where did these things originate, but also being open to what other people's stories are, and understanding that people, for the most part, believe what they have been taught to believe, and may not have thought through all of it on their own. So I just want to, remember that for myself and keep it open-minded and open heart.
Yeah. All right, thank you so much for that, Adrian. I hope Adrian's live tweeting, so if y'all would like to tweet us, if you're a little shy, you could tweet us at Tell Me More Radio, or you could call us at 901-260-5926. Go ahead, Andre. I know you dying to do it.
I just want to. I'm reading from the Metaphysical Bible Dictionary, and they give the definition of the words in the Bible. They give the literal meaning, then they give metaphysically. Heaven, the kingdom of heaven, or of the heavens, is a state of consciousness in which the soul and the body are in harmony with the divine mind. Hell, one does not have to die in order to go to hell, any more than one has to die to go to heaven. Both are states of minds and conditions which people experience as a direct overworking of their thoughts, beliefs, words, and acts. If one's mental processes are out of harmony with the law of man's being, they result in trouble, sorrow, mental as well as bodily anguish overtakes one. This is hell. The book, The Bible and the External Punishment by A.P. Barton gives the following definition of the word hell. The English word hell is from the Saxon verb hellen, to cover or conceal. Intrinsically contains no ideal of a place or torment.
Which is why Revelation would be the end.
Go ahead, Rakisha.
No.
Rakisha.
I do think that there can be a subjective understanding of heaven and hell, but I also believe in an objective, like this is that destination, this is that experience. And so you know how you can have a state of mind that is heavenly, yes, even now, or you know how if there's something that you love and you have an overload of it. For instance, I love French fries. If I have an overload of French fries, I might say, oh my gosh, I'm in heaven. If I'm struggling in some situation, I'm going to say I'm going through hell. And then there could be different variations of that are more or less serious. At the same time, I do think that another understanding of heaven is the reference to like the kingdom of God. And so like while God as in the divine can be in us, it's not there has to be something, another place, destination, experience, state where it's totally this divine's presence and not, which is absent of evil, absent of anything that's opposite of the divine, in this case, for me, God.
So you think it has to be like a division between them? Like a distinction between like what's good and
what's God?
Yeah.
No.
Can I say something on that?
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
After you, Paul.
So like, even in the Bible, it teaches that God is everything, omnipresent, I'm not familiar with all knowing, all powerful, all present. So with that being said, obviously he's in all of us at some point. But the question I want to raise to y'all, if he's everywhere, does he also reside in hell? And how do you feel about that?
Well, you asking the question from a biblical perspective, right?
Right.
Okay. So, like I said, we're going to go biblical. We got to stick to the record, which is the script.
Right.
So, say that question again.
Well, God is all present.
Right.
So, God is within us.
Right.
But,
does he reside in hell?
Does he reside in
hell?
as
All right,
well?
I want to let Melody take on this answer since she's on hold. Melody, you with us?
Hey, guys.
Hey, Mel, what's up?
Sorry I couldn't come in. I'm at work right now. But I had a slight comment about you guys, like, I don't think that, like, hell is an exact place either. I think, like, the worst fear of, like, going to hell would be, like, being in this world or living in a state of, like, a place where, like, there's no wisdom, like in Ecclesiastes it says there's no work, nor devising, nor knowledge, nor wisdom in Sheol. And and I guess in Psalms they say that, like, the beginning of wisdom is, like, the acknowledgement of God, and, like, I think that like, the closest thing we're going to get to hell is, like, what we're living in right now. And, like, the fear is dying and, like, staying in this, like, this life, which is pretty crappy, like, you know, if some people, like, consider it.
Okay. Well, thank you for that perspective. And I think I agree with you along the lines of some stuff you said, and we're going to talk about that during the last segment of the show. So thank you for calling, Mel. See you soon, hopefully.
Yeah.
Thank you. All right, we have one more caller, Keon. If you'd like to call us, you can call us at 901-260-5926. Keon, you're on the air. What do you have to share?
Hey, Jasmine. Hey, everyone. This is a really cool conversation. I think that heaven and hell is one of those never-ending questions. Like, literally one of the purposes of life is to go through scenarios and understand what part of a scenario is heaven to us and what part is hell. And it just kind of furthers our understanding of the self. While I think even, you know, life could be so fantastic that as we learn our perceptions of heaven and hell and we go through stages, we are existing more and more in our heaven, but through our trials of understanding the universe, we still have to experience things we consider as heavenly or hellish.
Okay, so you've been in, well, I wish you would have called like during the second segment because my question was kind of in line with what we're going to talk about next. But you know how Tom always tells us that like the kingdom of heaven is in your heart. Is that like along the same lines that you're talking about with your perspective?
Absolutely. And here it's a little bit more literal, especially for me, like looking inside and finding the kingdom of heaven, like what is being constructed within me and through my understandings and what I can only describe as divine understandings that are being taught to me by the universe, and even bringing me to other people who are having similar life situations. And that's all it really is, you know, we can't just be here and not ask questions. And I just think that heaven and hell are the platforms for most of our questions, especially because I believe in the spirit. I believe that we have a spirit and a soul and something that makes us feel things while we're connected to many other souls, the universe, or the creator itself. And I think a lot less fictionally or fantastically as many things that are written, just much more literal. Like I'm going through something and a part of me feels a hellish vibe and a part of me might feel a heavenly vibe, and I just base my life understandings on that.
I definitely understand where you're coming from, Keon. Thank you for calling. Like, you really surprised me. Thank you for calling.
Yeah, good to hear your voice.
All right, bye-bye. Okay, y'all. So, man, this conversation is really cool. I don't know if y'all feel a little tension in the room, but I like
it's
it.
love. It's all love.
Well, it's cool.
It's all.
Because I ain't want to have to take my belt off y'all, but we are gonna take a quick break. So if you'd like to call us, you can call us at 901-260-5926. We'll be right back, y'all.
Soul. Physical sight deteriorates as time grows, but I won't let my third eye be the one with they blindfold. Where I'm from, we didn't have trust funds, just trust guns. Birthdays, I was selected for this. Got no regrets in this.
Alright, y'all, welcome back to Tell Me More Radio with Tom Shadyac. I am Jasmine Houston, and tonight we're talking about religion, and y'all know this gets everybody heated, so just bear with us for the rest of the show. So during the first and second segment, we kind of talked about different aspects of hell and heaven, if they're real or not. But I found a clip on YouTube that kind of offers a different perspective that's, I feel like, neutral regardless of your beliefs. So if you could, Jess, could you play clip number 1?
Just because you die doesn't make you an angel. What you are here on earth is pretty much what you're going to encounter on the other side, what we call the other side. See, it's all one frequency continuum, really. That's the true awakening, by the way, is that we realize that right here, right now, where I am, that's where the awakening is. You know, there's not some imagined ascend out of here place where you're finally going to get to heaven. That's not how it works. What you are here is what you'll meet there. As within, so without, you know. And Jesus even teaches that. He says, what you bind on earth, you'll bind in heaven. What you loosen on earth, you'll loosen in heaven. That's perfect spiritual physics, right? So hell realms are created, whether it's the Tibetan bardos, the underworld of the Mayas, you know, the hells of Christianity, the Hades of the Greeks, right? The undergoing these passages are necessary. To heal yourself, you need to go back to your personal hells and clean house. Come out wherever you are, right? Clean these aspects of yourself up. Naturally, then, you will start to have much more energy and ascend, literally. That's true ascension. Fake ascension is avoiding your stuff and trying to spiral out of the body through fancy Merkaba or yogic techniques can be misused for that as well. That's false ascension. You will at some point in your soul's history have to go back and retrieve your energies. No one can outrun their energies. You can't move into a gated community in heaven and hope that you can lock out all the bad riffraff. It doesn't work because these energies are inside you. They're in your chakras. They have strings right into your chakras, into your spinal column, into your kundalini, into your essence. So wherever you go, they go with you.
Okay, y'all, so I feel like the guy in this clip, I would tell y'all his name, but I really don't know how to pronounce it, so I just plan to avoid that. But I'll tweet that out or something. But what I really like about his perspective is that it's something that I can relate to, because I personally didn't say much about this topic because I don't know if a heaven is real, if a hell is real. You know, I had questions about it and stuff like, why doesn't planes bump into the people in heaven? Like, all types of stuff. It's just, like I'm telling you, I had so many questions. But what I have found most satisfying is just realizing that at any point in our lives, we could be in a sense of heaven or hell based on our actions and what type of energies we putting out. And so he said that you could create personal hells. And so if you're putting out like a whole bunch of negative energy, talking about people behind their backs and all that, then you already in a state of hell. Or if you're trying to like do the inner work, make sure you're doing right by yourself and by others and just trying to put out the best energy you can, then that could be a sense of heaven. So I don't know if you necessarily have to die to experience heaven or hell, because we experience that in our own lives. And another reason I feel like it's problematic just to determine if a person is going to heaven or hell is because we all have our different journeys and we're battling different things every day. So my actions this day might qualify me to get into heaven, but what if I mess up the next week or so? Like, am I going to hell because of that? Like, that's why this question is so like deep, and I don't know if we'll ever get to an answer, but we do have a caller, Terrence. Terrence, you're on the air.
Yeah, thank you for taking my call.
Of course.
This being a, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. What do you have to share with us?
Okay. Well, what I want to first, I've been listening, and what I want to first say is that if you're going to have a discussion based on something that is whether it's pseudo religion or a religious type of topic, then there must be rules established. Because one thing I want to say is to all the panel there, you can't have an up without a down. You can't have a left without a right. Therefore, you can't have a right without a wrong. Everybody's bringing their views and whatnot, their I guess theologies to the table, but you don't have a basis to go off of, because so everybody's making references to the Bible, but nobody wants to talk about what the Bible actually has to say. The Bible doesn't need to be interpreted. It can be interpreted. It interprets itself if you have some understanding, if you do some reading. So you can't quote the Bible or make references to the Bible, but then dismiss the Bible. And so the only way you're going to come to a conclusion or come to an agreement or come to a logical substantiation is that if you're going to reference something. Now, if you're not going to reference the Bible, then throw the Bible out. But if you're going to keep referring back to the Bible or talk about things that are in the Bible, then you have to let the Bible be the end-all, be-all, because it is the authority over what you're trying to discuss. Now, if you want to talk about chakras and all that, then bring the Hindu, because everybody has a book. That's what I want everybody to understand. Don't be fooled. Hindus got a book. Everybody, Egyptologists, chemists, everybody got a book. So bring your book to the table, bring your theology to the table, and let's go from there. But if you're not going to acknowledge the Bible for what it is, then don't reference the Bible.
The Bible is referencing the chakras, though. So how can you not intermingle both of those?
The Bible does not reference the chakras.
In Revelations, they are. They talk about these 7 seals that are going to open up.
The 7 seals are not talking about chakras.
Okay, that's your interpretation of what the Bible is.
I can say this.
No, it goes and says that these are the 7 plagues. So it doesn't say anything about chakras.
Can I ask a question? Can I ask you a question? I just want to say, okay, since you said that, and let's stay in the Bible. How did hell? Whose realm was hell? Who like in the Bible? And in the Bible, did it not? I just want to ask you the question first. Hold on.
Ask him his age first.
I just want to ask you a question first. Because in the Bible, they say Satan. What I'm saying, God cast Satan out from heaven, right?
Right. To the earth.
Hold on. He cast them out of heaven. He was singing in the church choir in heaven, I believe he was.
I don't say that.
It don't say that.
All
But
right,
it don't say.
hold on. I want to go back to Mr. Terrence's
Hold on.
point.
If you want to quote the Bible, quote it right. Don't misquote the Bible.
Okay, I won't misquote the Bible. Okay, but he sent Satan down to basically. This is God we talking about. The generator, operator, destroyer.
Generator, operator, destroyer.
You know what I'm saying? He sent Satan down. He sent us down. Like, you know what I'm saying?
He sent us down from nowhere.
You were created.
But Hebrew is antigrammatic writing.
All right, y'all. I don't really want to go into all that for the last. I don't want to go into that for the last segment, y'all. So I do appreciate you, Mr. Terrence, for making sure that we have our facts and our books and stuff together. So thank you for your call.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so I want to go back to what he said, because he said that if you are going to talk about things like this, you have to have some type of grounding or something to reference to. And what I was trying to avoid with doing this was just deeming like one religion or one belief correct, because if we do use the Bible, that excludes like Islam and other things in a sense, because we have different texts. So I do appreciate that. But go ahead, TJ.
I do think the question should have been, because this ain't a topic that you can just discuss one day and everybody come to, you know what I'm saying? Because everybody got different thoughts, you know what I'm saying, or beliefs. So I believe it's something like that should have been a little bit more specific, because this a broad question, you know what I'm saying? Because but see everybody over here, you shaking your head now, but everybody over here presenting different opinions, but everybody not in agreement. So
correct.
We don't have to be in agreement for truth to stand. Like I think truth stands by itself.
But truth. So y'all saying that it's not.
I'm not saying that my truth. I'm not saying that what I'm saying is true. I'm not saying that what he's saying. I'm saying that truth is not truth until truth is subjective. You know what I'm saying? It's when you discover what truth is, you gonna live by that.
How can you claim something is true when none of us has experienced it?
Well, I think when we're talking about something like this,
ain't truth absolute.
When you're talking about a religion, faith comes into play.
So how in the world?
How
can
many
it
of
be
y'all have
many
died?
Different absolutes. But that's an oxymoron.
Only thing that's absolute is death. None of us have died. So how can y'all say what comes
even
after
death,
death?
even when you say
what?
death-
How can you say what comes after death
Even
is
when you
true
say
or not?
death, what is
Nobody
death?
knows.
Even when you say with death, what is death?
Nobody knows.
Is it really
Alright.
death or is it just a transition?
So I think we're gonna
Have you
leave this
died?
show on this note.
Have
What
you
Paul
lived?
said is that how can we really know? Y'all, this is a tough topic, and I'm sure we'll come to it again. But I think I'm gonna give it a break till I get my nerves and stuff back together, because y'all took it everywhere. But I appreciate everybody out there listening, and just to throw my little 2 cents in, I think that a person could be in heaven or hell at any point in their lives. Nobody has the correct answers because we haven't personally experienced it before. If we have, we haven't brought back proof. So y'all just tune back in next week. I don't know if we're gonna talk about this again or not, but thanks for listening. This has been Tell Me More Radio. I'm Jasmine Houston. Y'all drive safe and have a good night out there. Peace.
The